Good afternoon, or yeah, it is afternoon. It's not quite one, but good afternoon, Justice Warriors. I'm finally getting on my live as I so often let you guys know. It's really challenging to get started. You think you're ready, and then you got to grab your beverage, and then you think you're ready again, and you got to grab your drink, and then you think you're ready again, and you just about knock it over. That's actually happened to me before. Got pen, paper, all my freaking notebooks. I have like 10 of them. It's going to give me a vertigo attack. I do it to myself. Hola, Annie Ruler. I was going to ask you if you've gotten your package, but you won't get it till you get into town next week, right? Back stateside. Thanks for saying hi. Absolutely. And yeah, you have a question mark, like maybe I wouldn't see you or like I'm not talking to you. Lovely to see you, my dear. How are you? It's Monday. It's about 1 o'clock. It's April 22nd. I guess there's a lot of ruckus going on right now at the universities in the New York area, like Yale and, oh, what's that other big fancy one? Columbia. There's a bunch of big fancy ones up there, huh? Oh, I'm muted. Hello. Am I still muted? Okay. Well, thank you. I'm glad that your volume was off because my mic was on the ground. Should I put it on my chest? I just worry that putting it on my chest is going to backfire too. So I usually just put it on the thing right in front of me. Which way should I do it? I don't want to distract from my cool little understated necklace. So I'm going to put it here. Da, 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 da. And, gravity always messing with me. Doesn't it just sometimes seem like the whole world is out to get you, including gravity, all of it, the elements, earth, wind, and fire? So let's get rolling with this show. Let's get the show on the road. We got Bex, we got Mrs. Amir. Yay, Annie Ruler. We're jamming. We be jamming. We got 4 of us. We're good to go. Let's just kick it into high gear. If I can. I mean, I'm kind of struggling because, I've been trying to slow down, and like I told you guys, I'm trying not to do too many things at once, and it's just kind of not in my personality. So it's really challenging. And let me just straighten out my necklace. Let me clear my throat. There we go. Okay. So I hear no interference, any placement of microphone. Thank you, Ms. Annie Ruler. That's really good to know. Dakota Boo, what's up? Haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for coming by. It's so awesome to have my regulars, and it's so awesome to have the spontaneous ones too. So very cool. Hi, say some prayers for Kevin Neese. Thank you for bringing that up. I saw that on my screen as I was coming on, and then, brain went blank. Dang. Sepsis related to ruptured gallbladder, had to surrender his dog and is homeless. Whoa, that's crazy. Holy smokes. Yeah, he's lucky to be alive, a ruptured gallbladder. That's nuts. Well, yes, let's all say some prayers for dear Kevin Neese. I know he was one of the many Kylie Rodney diehards. So I'll be back soon. Got to take a work call. What? Come on, aren't I your priority, Bex? No, I love you. I know you'll catch me on the replay if you want. I was able to hop into Mr. Marky Mark's Chit Chat Investigates live right at the tail end. And then I was able to be on replay crew before I got this started. So that was nice that I was able to catch all that. I was also able to catch the most recent Ninja Chihuahua. She has been pumping them out. I always like to tell you guys what I've been watching because I don't want to steal anybody's ideas, and I might say things not realizing that it's something that I just saw on somebody's video. But the channel that I'm wanting to give the most credit to right now, I'm brand new to her. Have you guys heard? You probably have, because you're a bunch of hard asses. Have you heard of Roberta Glass True Crime Report? She's had her channel for, I think like over 15 years. I don't know how active it's been, but I always look. That's one of the first things I do when I find a new channel that I'm interested in, is I see how new they are. So she's been around for a long time. She sounds like a lawyer, but I don't know if she is. She's just a smart, educated go-getter. And she lives in New York City. So she's like on top of it. So she is one of the few people that I've found. And if you guys have any recommendations, I'd be happy to hear them. One of the few people that I've found, other than the True Crime Rocket Science, that has been doing the deep dives on Amanda Knox. I know there's some others out there, but I don't want to hear any of them that are like, going to be blowing smoke for that crazy. I don't even know what to call her. Like, she is the narcissist. And she reminds me so much of Scammy. So I'd like to do what I've done in the past, which is sort of blend the two. And then, of course, it gets into some blending with Idaho 4 also, because these are both college situations. These are both things that happened in the home. These are both with sharp instruments. These are both with a lot of cleanup, a lot of. So I've been speaking about the Meredith Kercher case quite a bit lately, because Amanda Knox has been back in the court system, getting sued by the country of Italy for slandering the man that owned the bar. So, oh man, my brain is just swimming. Is his name Patrick? I thought his name was something more exotic than that. Anyway, the bar that she worked at called Le Chic, and I think his name is Patrick. She was saying that, and I'm sure I have it in all my notes here. But anyway, let me try to stay focused. It's not going to work. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, Patrick, she owes him. He was awarded $50,000 from her by the courts for the slander. She did not come out of prison with a $3 million book deal like I thought she did. She came out of prison with a $4 million book deal. She has been making bank off of the passing of Meredith Kercher. She continues to deny categorically everything. She makes no sense at all. She loves taunting the Kercher family, it seems like. Just like kind of the Catch Me If You Can. Remember that movie? She is really, really insane. She did steal money off of Meredith's desk or in her drawer in her room. Remember, I mentioned that I thought she did. I couldn't remember. But let me just first go through my routine. Everything I say, and I'm going to catch your comments. Everything I say is simply my opinion, simply for the sake of conversation, hoping to open up a discussion and learn something. And just to connect with my people so we can all tune in to what's going on, like with Kevin Neese, and Ara's here. Awesome, CB. And yeah, all my videos are made for YouTube. It's an entertainment platform. I hope that they're educational. I hope to gain knowledge and insight through this process. It's extremely therapeutic for me, you guys. I mean, that's really what motivates me to do these lives the way I've evolved into doing them. I try to do them Monday through Friday. I try to keep them at least an hour long. And I try to just kind of fill you guys in on where I'm at with what's become kind of a blending of all the cases that I'm focused on. And it seems like it works for you guys. I was afraid that people would get frustrated that I was, going in different directions. But, so many of the cases that I look at tie back into Kylie Rodney. And I am interested in the other cases, but also I'm really interested in trying to gain more insight into Kylie Rodney, because our source of information and our resources with that case are so freaking limited. And that is not right. That is criminal, in my opinion. Stupid necklaces. Sideways. It's probably not even sideways. It's probably just the angle that I'm sitting at. And then I can't figure out how to get it the right direction. And you guys don't care, but I do. You know, because it's my true crime, jewelry, home decor, yoga channel, right? Okay, so let's stay caught up with you guys. And Bex is the last one I read. Oh no, painful. Hope they get the right bacteria. Wow. Didn't he have law enforcement pension? He worked law enforcement for at least 10 years. So probably, yeah. That I think 10 years is the minimum mark to get a pension. But then that depends. Like it would have had to have been 10 solid years, and he might have been in different departments that it might not have all made the same pension plan. So I don't know. So thank you guys so much for being here. Mrs. Amir says, little man wouldn't let me chat. He fights for my phone instead of sleeping, watching TV, lurking. That's cute. Little man. Aw. Never heard of Roberta. Yeah, I'd never heard of her either. Roberta Glass True Crime Report. I'm going to put links to some of her videos in the description. She has been kicking some butt and really breaking down the Amanda Knox case in such a well-balanced, direct, and thorough way. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I mean, True Crime Rocket Science does that too, but he's very specific in his style, and we're all very specific in our style. So I find it's nice to watch several different ones, several different channels. So like I said, I'm open to learning of other good channels that have focused on Amanda Knox. I know that a lot of people have dropped videos about her, but I mean, really having a thorough understanding. And I think I'm going to continue down that path because the reasons that I've stated before. But because the case being back in the spotlight, and because she won't keep her mouth shut and she keeps making bank off of the Kercher family. And like I said in my last video, good, let her keep flapping her jaws, because the more she talks about it, the crazier she seems. Like, why don't you just shut up about it already and move on with your life? And she's like addicted to the power, addicted to the money, addicted to the attention. That's really what it is. It's all about the attention. This woman is the narcissist of all narcissists. So I have pages and pages of notes from all the Roberta Glass videos that I've caught over the weekend. And I feel like it's extremely eye-opening. So yes, let's really say some prayers for Kevin Neese. Absolutely. And I think Kevin was only in law enforcement 15 years. I think he gets about $900 a month from pension, which doesn't go far. So he's probably shared that in his videos, or you wouldn't be sharing that here, I bet. So yeah, thank you for that, Dakota. I mean, that's a good chunk of change. That's a lot more than a lot of people make in their like Social Security years. But yeah, he had a really nice place, but he was also selling it, last I heard. So maybe he already sold it and he was already like being a nomad. And then you can't really be a nomad with a severe health issue. So he'll get it together. I think he has good friends and he's a smart man. Annabes. Hey, Annabes. Do I have your earrings on? This is actually the second pair. So you're the one that won the Bobo Tea earrings. Am I right? And then Truth Tsunami won the popsicles. So you sent me your address so I can get them off in the mail probably tomorrow. And I need Truth Tsunami to send me her address, please, if she happens to see this video, or if anybody wants to shoot her a message. And then I can send them off together and then do more giveaways, because I love doing the giveaways, but I don't want them to pile up before I do more giveaways, because it can get confusing. Then you forget who won what, and you don't want to do that. So let's see. Yeah. I watched a bit about Amanda this weekend. Her music went on the morning her friend was found, like almost to the minute. Her music, yeah, there's so much in the case that I was unaware of because, I kind of had the single source of my deep dive on Amanda Knox and Meredith Kercher. Um, so the amount of money that was rent was not 300, it was 250. And Amanda may have already paid her rent. I'm not sure, but then not, but then been strapped. But whichever, whether she'd paid her rent or not is kind of immaterial at this point. Meredith had her rent money in cash and she had it in her room. And that was the only thing in the house that was missing. And because people were gone for the weekend because it was like some kind of holiday weekend with Halloween being the night before, and that's like a big thing over there. So the four males that lived downstairs, they were all gone for the weekend, and so were the other two female roommates that Amanda and Meredith had. So that's why no one was around. So yeah, Amanda had been texting Meredith the day before, the night before, trying to go to the party that Meredith was going to. And Meredith, I think, completely blew her off and didn't respond to her messages. That was November 1st. And then on November 2nd, um, that's the night that it happened. So it happened between 9:30 and 11:30, according to law enforcement, which I've always wondered what the more specific time frame was. I didn't really have that either. But this is what's super important. Remember how I mentioned that Rafaela and Amanda forgot to go to the memorial service of Meredith, and they were seen shopping in a lingerie boutique together, and people were taking pictures of them. Good on those people. So it looks like allegedly, maybe, probably Amanda was buying the lingerie with the stolen money from Meredith during Meredith's memorial service. It really doesn't get any sicker than that. So when she was arrested, she had slightly more than 200 euros on her person, which is a lot of money for a kid that is broke and is losing her job and who's spending money like it's going out of style. Like, she very well could have had a soda pop habit, so to speak, a rug habit. Um, but whichever, she was just irresponsible with her money. She had limited resources and she was not doing well at work because she was allegedly flirting with all the clientele and forgetting to do her tasks at hand, which, being a bartender's a rough job. That's not an easy uh, deal at all. You got to work your rear end off. And so, yeah, Patrick was trying to get rid of her. He had canceled her that night. And that's why I think she decided to implicate him, some revenge. And he was also in the process of trying to procure Meredith as a bartender at his bar because she was much more poised. That was a word I used a few days ago. She just kind of had it together. And Amanda was there as an exchange student, but she was only taking one class and she was auditing it, to my understanding. And let me just add this, that she had been a student at the University of Washington. She still was a student at the University of Washington, just doing her exchange in there in, I always hack up the name of the town. It's like Perugia or something like that. It's not Paraguay, is it? Anyway, starts with a P. It's a long word. It has a G in it. Maybe I should Google it so it's not so annoying to me. I don't know if it annoys you guys the way it annoys me when I get my word salad going. So if I say, I just say Meredith, let me just speak it instead of typing it. Meredith Kercher. Um, So she went to Leeds University. She was British, and Perugia. That's the name of the city. Perugia in Umbria, Italy. Well, that's good. I never knew that Perugia was in Umbria. I just knew Perugia was in Italy. And that's if I'm saying it right. I apologize if I'm misenunciating it. I have a lot of trouble with Rafaela's name too, because I think everybody does. So I hear it said a bunch of different ways. But his last name is Solicito, I think. And his father's a doctor, and his family is kind of like the Godfather. So he is connected. Turns out Ms. Knox is pretty connected too. She has an uncle in Germany that has a law firm that she was supposed to be doing an internship at that summer. She went to Germany for the internship, but she never did the internship. She just blew him off. She was extremely irresponsible and rude and immature and thoughtless, it sounds like. I mean, that was just her personality. That was how she was designed. And things like you could be talking to her and she'd start strumming her guitar, and she didn't know how to play guitar. So it wasn't like she was playing a tune. It's like she was just acting like a schizophrenic freak, in my humble opinion. Anyway, or if all the roommates were sitting in the living room trying to watch a movie together, that would be another opportunity to pick up her guitar and start strumming it. Like this. You guys are going to love this one. The other two roommates were Italian. And so Meredith and Amanda both spoke perfect English, and the two Italian roommates spoke English, but not that well. So they were trying to get their English mastered. And so they only wanted to speak English in the home. So Amanda, who was trying to learn Italian, would speak Italian in the home when they were trying to master their English, because that's just the kind of girl she was. She was nuts. Her mother and father divorced when she was pretty young, and her mom remarried when she was 14. Amanda was 14. Her mom was 39. You want to guess how old the new husband was? Not to be too critical, but he was 27. So Amanda was 14. The new husband was 27, and the mom was 39. It's just kind of, I mean, I think we see that kind of thing more with the male being older than the female. But even in those cases, it kind of skeezes me out too. Anyway, allegedly, Amanda and her mother kind of competed for guys' attention. That was just how she had developed over the years. So, also, let me add this real quick. It sounds like both her mother and her father, listening to like the transcripts of the jailhouse calls that were recorded, it sounds like they both didn't trust Amanda, and that they both suspected that she actually did it. And she was just always squirrely and always denying everything and always just talking about really trivial stuff, like she didn't care about what was going on with the case, except for how it was going to affect her. Everything was how it affected her. And people just disliked her everywhere, especially women disliked her everywhere. Anyway, her jail cellmates called her the actress. That was her nickname. So yeah, the thing that you were saying, Annie, thank you, about her music. Yeah, so all the electronic data that they had is not good for Amanda or Raphael's cases. And they were never like cleared as, she wants to pretend that they were. Their cases were overturned on technicalities. So they were both convicted twice. They both had their cases overturned twice on technicality. So that's basically just fancy lawyering. So one of the lawyers that took a liking to Miss Amanda Knox and became part of the group in Seattle called Friends of Amanda Knox. And they did a huge PR campaign to like paint her as that Laura Ingalls Little House on the Prairie girl next door sweetheart that was just so misunderstood because, the awkward social skills. Anne Brenner. I couldn't remember her first name last week when I brought her up. So Anne Brenner is like this tall, slender, blonde, Barbie-looking lawyer in Seattle. She loves to take high-profile cases where she'll get a lot of attention. And she was arrested for drunk driving when she was on the case for the Friends of Amanda Knox. So she got kicked out of that. But these are the kinds of people that are going to support her, basically. One of the things I really liked about Roberta Glass is she had some terminology that I hadn't heard before that I really am on the same wavelength. Like she was talking about the culture of the whole Innocence Project, like scams, basically. That there's this whole culture, like we all have always known that everybody in prison will say, I didn't do it. They got the wrong guy. They pinned it on me. That's just typical. You can't believe when someone says that's true, which is really unfortunate for the people that are actually innocent. And then you got MFs like this narcissist that are ruining it for the honest people who had to serve half their lives or their entire adult lives in prison for crimes that they didn't commit because they were up against a crooked system and corruption and all that. So, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Amanda Knox touring with the Innocence Project and doing these speaking engagements and headlining because, yeah, she's famous, but she doesn't understand she's not really famous. She's infamous. And the more that time goes on, the more she keeps outing herself because she won't shut up. And she's using this as her meal ticket and she's using this as her platform. And a normal person, if they didn't do it, they'd really want to like focus on other things in the world. But for her, I think it's very satisfying to try to keep duping everyone, including her family. So yeah, the music, the whole story about how they were watching Amelie that night. No, she left Raphael's house. And I've also learned that he is a lot more guilty, I think, than I was giving him credit for. It's my opinion at this point in time that she probably did this with Rudy and then she had Raphael help her clean up. And we can talk more about the details of that. But in such a horrific situation, somebody that he's been banging for 6 days, give me a break. That's just out of control. And yeah, their music, also their schedule, Annie. Normally the two of them woke up really early and she woke up even earlier than he did. She sounds like she was manic. Like she woke up every day by 5 or 6, I think. And he woke up a little bit later than that, but he would wake up early because he was a real serious student. But they both had criminal records. He'd been arrested for possession and she'd been arrested for disorderly conduct, much along the same lines as Nicole Kessinger's arrest for throwing a party where people were completely out of control and dangerous. So Anna B says, yes, I did so happy. Yay. Shopping during the memorial, kind of like Sebastian's mom and Step buying a Harley. Ooh, that's nuts. Or like Scammy drinking a brewski at Boca with her little headlamp, right? He just got back from PT Jazz. Hi to all in chat. Oh, thanks, Christine. Oh, well, that's fabulous that he's doing physical therapy. That is great. And see, I'm so proud. My daughter, who's graduating her undergrad, her bachelor's degree next month, she is going into occupational therapy. So that's probably some stuff that he might have to do too. OT is a really great field to be in. And I mean, so is physical therapy, but occupational therapy, for anybody who's not familiar, skills and dexterity and just your everyday getting back to so that you can cook for yourself and dress yourself and write and just all the basics. So I have a good friend actually who runs the occupational therapy department at the University of Washington. So what I wanted to say about UW is that they have completely tried to cleanse themselves of Amanda Knox. Like if you read things about her and her undergraduate school, a lot of times it'll just say a prestigious university. It won't say that it's even in Seattle. Like they really want nothing to do with her. A person like her tarnishes the reputation of not only the school that she's from, but being in Italy and committing crazy ass crimes like that. She's tarnishing the reputation of all of us from this country. They already don't like us over there, and they have good reason not to. And then you have a little scumbag like her come through and slaughter one of the UK's finest. Meredith had a very promising future ahead of her. So she was a musician. She was a brown belt in karate. She was very smart, a very serious student, and um, she had starred in a MTV, or not MTV, sorry, but a music video. So a band had spotted her. Somebody in a band had spotted her and said, "Hey, would you star in our music video?" And she's really cute. I mean, the photographs that we see of her, there's not very many of them, and they're not very good pictures of her. So I think that's part of why the Foxy Noxy has always been able to manipulate people, is because she's very photogenic and there's lots of great pictures of her. And a lot of her pictures are off of her MySpace account that was called Foxy Noxy by her. And then she even tried to deny that Foxy Noxy was a nickname that she used. When it's like, girl, it's on your social media. And then she was like, "Oh, well, that was just because when I was little, I was good at soccer. And so a few people when I was 10 called me Foxy Noxy. That's all." It's like, no, foxes are sneaky. They're snaky. You can't trust them. They're really good at hunting. They're really good at hiding. That's why they call you Foxy Noxy, in my opinion. So, um, yeah. Annie, you mean they had a vigil for their son and did not attend? Unbelievable. Yeah, I haven't followed Sebastian's case, so I don't know, but Annie can fill us in on that. Um, Fingers and hands numb, no strength. So much injustice in that case. Sly like a fox. Exactly. I like to say dumb like a fox because that's a good one. A lot of these people that are sly will try to play dumb. They'll try to do the Columbo kind of thing. So, yeah. Like Amanda saying that, she called her mom when this whole thing was unfolding. So they haven't even called the police yet, and they're at the apartment. They're there. She literally gets caught red-handed with a mop trying to leave her duplex with her mop to go over to Raphael's because they say his pipes broke the night before when he was washing the dishes after dinner, and there was water all over the floor, and they couldn't sop it all up with towels, so he didn't have a mop, but she did. But they waited till morning. They fixed the pipes themselves, they claim, like they're plumbers, right? Because the pipes weren't broken. So they're like, well, yeah, we fixed them. Uh-huh. Right. Because plumbing's so easy. Uh-huh. Sure you did. So that was her story because they caught her leaving her place with her freaking mom. A person who was notorious for being a slob and not doing her chores, all this laundry and getting her head scrubbed. She didn't even bathe very well or routinely. So, her roommates had a lot of complaints about her. They had a chore wheel and they had the chores divvied up the way you would in a roommate situation like that. She would just not do hers. So they'd only been living there for like 6 weeks, her and Meredith. I think the other two had lived there longer. And part of that 6 weeks, she was in Germany, supposedly for that internship that she didn't do for her uncle, who's the attorney. So anyway, their family connections are certainly what got them off on technicalities. And her trying to milk it for millions of dollars, and she has successfully. She's made herself a professional, literally professional speaker about the slaughter of her roommate. And that's all she is. That's all she is. That's her profession. That's her career. And she gets $10,000 per speaking engagement. And she's really honed her story. So it keeps changing, It changed a lot up front, but it continues to change. And for that, we can thank her, right? Let's see. Yeah. So didn't highlight new stuff. I like to do that. I like to try to be in the habit of highlighting your comments. So let me see what I got here. Like I said, I've got pages and pages of notes, and I know that most of them are in this one notebook, so I'm not going to be lost trying to find the notebook. This is it. So Amanda Knox and Amanda Knox's friends, or Friends of Amanda Knox, the support group there in Seattle, hired Seattle's best public relations agency for over $1 million and left it to them to spin the yarns of how her case is going to be portrayed in this country. CNN was part of that. So I have very little respect for them, learning that they paid her lawyers' fees, they paid the family's travel expenses, and they suppressed so much of the incriminating information, like the music, like the fact that one of their stories up front the first few days was that they had left the house together that night of November 2nd, and that they went to get groceries to buy dinner. But then on their way to the grocery store, they remembered, oh yeah, we have groceries. We don't need to be doing this. And that's their story. So to me, that sounds like people had seen them in town, and so they had to have a cover for that. And cover. So it sounds like Amanda wanted to go out second, just like she'd wanted to go out and party on the first. And she was supposed to work on the second, but then she had the night off. And then Raphael did not want to go out, it seems like, because he wanted to study. So she left his home. Her story and his story, I think currently, are that they both stayed in that night. So I don't even know if they still have that part where they were starting to go to the grocery store, and then right before they got there, they realized that they didn't need any groceries. I mean, and come on, who doesn't need any groceries? I mean, especially in Europe, people shop every day. They don't stock up the way we do with unfresh food. They go and buy fresh food every day for their meals. So that's just crazy. Anyway, yeah. It's just incorrigible how Amanda Knox will say that she wants to confront the Kercher family. that she's so sad that they won't speak with her because she wants to be able to confront them. It's like, you just told on yourself, biatch. Like, what in the world would you want to confront them about? And mind you, the family hasn't just lost Meredith. That was 17 years ago. Since then, the family's also lost Meredith's mother and father. So they had to get some type of injunction, like a restraining order against Amanda, because she kept threatening to go find Meredith's grave, you guys. She was dead set determined that she was going to go visit. Like, does it get any more disgusting than that? Like, if you're not welcome, you're not welcome. If you don't know where it is, you don't know where it is. But she just wouldn't stop. So they got a legal injunction. And also, we have to keep in mind that the whole court system over there is entirely different than ours. So that's why they were able to get off easily on a technicality. And that's why then the courts were able to re-prosecute, because here we have the double indemnity. You can't get prosecuted twice for homicide. You can only be prosecuted once. So if it's overturned, it's overturned. But there, they don't have that. So I'm wondering if they can try it again. Although I would think that people have been paid off and that they wouldn't want to, because they're just so sick of her. So sick of her. She's such an impossible headache. And how is Anna today? Anna B, that's cute. I like that. Christine, I'm going to highlight that because it's got a cute little bumblebee in it. It's awesome. So what was this? Oh, and then the poop. Yeah, the poop in the toilet that Amanda just was so excited to show the police. Like, oh my goodness, there's feces in the bathroom. Somebody didn't flush. It couldn't be anybody that lives in this house because we all flush. And, if you saw that in your bathroom, wouldn't you flush it? It's not like they can do a DNA test on fecal matter, But to me, it was a distraction. It was her trying to say, oh, well, it must be an outsider who did this because everyone that lives in this house, including me, we all flush. Why didn't you flush the toilet when you found it? Because why would you want to show poop to the authorities? Gross. Pooped from physical therapy, but good. Oh, you had PT also, Christine? Good for you. Good for you. And so Annie Ruler's got to run. Adios, amigos. Thanks for coming in. Safe, Annie Ruler. Yes. And get to Vegas and get your package. So yeah, I was able to do yoga yesterday for the first time since the vertigo. So I was very pleased with that, but I still took it really easy. Like, I didn't do anything upside down, like down dog, or even just the things where you bend over, and just nothing strenuous. Just everything is strenuous for me at this point. So I am glad that I was able to do a lot of it. And I'm going to just continue to lay low and do so hard on my YouTube channel. I don't have to keep pushing that. Just pull it back a notch. Take really good care of myself. Proceed in a calmer manner with both that this experience has brought me to, this health crisis with the vertigo attack a week and a half ago. It's made me realize that I have pushed myself way too hard pretty much every day of my life. So I'm an overachiever. I like to be really busy, and I can cut that crap out. I mean, those are sometimes good habits to have, but it's also dangerous. We are all our own worst enemies. So You know, I don't need to be having a goal of doing yoga every day. Like I had that goal for the last 7 or 8 months now, and my new goal can be like twice a week, maybe at this point, and then maybe work up to like 3 times, 4 times a week. I think that'd be fine. I mean, if I get back up to the everyday, then great, but it's not a big deal. You know, you got to go with what your body tells you to do. And my body is telling me to chill. And yeah, and just staying more focused on the cases that really inspire me. So this case with Amanda Knox is really inspiring me right now because there's so much that I didn't know, things that I knew that I forgot, and things that are brand new to me. And then just the fact that she's putting herself front center stage. The whole thing with the slander case against her. Slander's a big deal in our country, but it's not a criminal crime. It's a civil case. So it's not that way in Italy. It's a very serious criminal case. And then even more of a criminal case is that she hasn't paid the money that she's owed the guy, and she's had the money. So at this point, the 50,000 is probably 6 figures with interest, and she'll probably continue to not pay him. So maybe they can put her in jail for that, right? Just keep being Amanda. You'll get yourself back in jail eventually. What scares me the most is that she has 2 small children. That really frightens me. So I pray for those little kids. Yes, I did go to the doctor. Thank Anna Bean. I went to the ER that night hesitantly, just because, you know, going to the ER at night, you know, you're likely going to be there all night and it's not comfortable. But it was good that I went because they were able to run tests and they did CAT scans and, you know, just to rule out that there was like any kind of aneurysm or heart issue or anything else. They diagnosed it as vertigo with an unknown origin. And I think I shared with you guys that I believe the origin was 2 strains of food poisoning, one from a Caesar salad that I ate, one from a tofu dish that I know I shouldn't eat, Shan, because tofu is disgusting. And then the stress of like yelling at my kids right before I went to yoga class, the stress of the whole yoga program that I've just had my nose to the grindstone on for 7 months solid. I mean, it's a very rigorous program, and it was very, very challenging for me to get through it. I'm sure it'll continue to be challenging to get through. Remember, I thought like, this is going to be fine now. The rest of it will be a cakewalk. And then the weekend right before the vertigo, we were doing inversions, headstands and handstands. So that might have something to do with it too, not just rigorous yoga every day, but doing those upside down things could well have had something to do with it. And then there's this whole thing in yoga that one of my viewers sent me some emails about it. And also one of my cohorts in my yoga class had told me about it too, that vertigo experience while doing yoga is like a goal. Not my goal, but it's a yogi thing because it's like the opening of your third eye. So it's going to make you very uneasy and nauseous when it happens, but it's this whole process. And even though I firmly believe the 2 strains of food poisoning and the stress, teenagers doing dangerous things in the house, even after I told them not to, me having to like bite their heads off and then try to go be like a Zen yogi 2 seconds later. You know, I think it's all of that combined. And then I want to throw that whole third eye thing in there too. And with my chakra deal that I've been working so hard at, let me get out of your way so you can see it nice and pretty. Been working so hard at my chakra tower. It's a plant stand. So it's just this white metal plant stand that was like $30 at the consignment shop that I saw it. I thought, well, that's kind of neat, but it's also kind of ugly. What would I do with it anyway? Oh, I know what I would do with it. So I went back and bought it, and it's been one of my little projects. So it's really coming together. The green chakra is your heart. The first blue chakra is your throat. The second blue chakra, which is the cobalt, that's your third eye. I don't have a light up there. And then the top one can be purple, and that's like the spirituality, like above your head, outside of your body. But it can also be clear. So I put the clear one up there. But let me grab my light and just wow you guys with my super amazing cobalt thing. When I light it up like that, it's all about the lights. Look at that. Look at that. Let's see. There we go. And then this one's not lit up too well. I have a candle back there, but it's really dim. If I grab a brighter candle, I'm going to give you guys the full effect if I can. Let's see. But then it kind of washes out. It's like too bright. Again, I tell you, I'm like Goldilocks. Things are too much, not enough, and then just right. Okay, so get the chair out of the way. And then the top one is clear. And then back down to that red one. I'm just loving it. I'm really digging it. I've never really known much about the chakras. I've known about their existence. I've had like a vague understanding of them. And it's fun to be learning. You know, at first I was like, that's a bunch of foofy stuff that I'm not really that excited to learn about. But, you know, I'm going with it. Who cares if it's foofy stuff? I'm still going with it. You know, we've been learning about tarot card Shan and astrology. So, I mean, I've always been aware of that stuff and not like against it, but it's just not been my thing. But it's part of the yoga training that I'm doing. So, you know, try to be flexible, not just physically. Couldn't type, but listening in. So yeah, Anna, back to your question about going to the doctor. I've also followed up with my primary care physician. So she concurs that we don't really know what brought it on. She agrees with my theories about the food poisoning and the stress of pushing myself and then the kids. And yeah, I don't think we've talked about the third eye, me and my physician. We should talk about that because she's really cool. She's very, very intuitive and just knows a lot about everything. I love my physician, my family doctor. We're really lucky to have a good one. Stress and tofu are no bueno, Shan. I love that. Too funny, girl. That is the best. Can I quote you on that? Stress and tofu are no bueno. Too funny. So yeah, I was joking with you about it the other day that the dish, you know, could be called death by tofu or killer tofu. And I do make a really good tofu dish. This was not one that I made. This was one I purchased. And it got me sick, and then it got my husband sick the next day. So, but he didn't get vertigo and have to go to the ER. So that's when I realized, oh yeah, I had a Caesar salad that was gross, and I threw away the lettuce, but I kept the chicken and the cheese and put it with new lettuce. And I think that I got listeria off of the gross lettuce. It was a brand new Caesar salad from Costco, you guys, my favorite store. They don't have bad quality. They don't sell you things that are going to kill you. I mean, it was from their deli, you know, like I got their Caesar salad. I get their Caesar salad all the time, but I didn't look at it before I walked away from the counter, and I took it home, and the freaking lettuce was brown. It didn't expire for a few days, but it still almost killed me combined with the killer tofu. Anyway, let's get back onto the case. And I haven't even done this yet, have I? Please hit that like button if you'd be so kind. Hit the creepy like button. I also have that little like button that I drew on my subscribe, share, and turn on your notification sign. So I've got my big notebook with the tons of notes about this case, and then I got my little notebook that did you know that Meredith had an earring ripped out? Like, she was brutalized. She was absolutely brutalized. Um, so Amanda said something early in the case about how Meredith was brutally attacked before she was stabbed. That was one of those things that only somebody there would have known, that she was brutally attacked before she was stabbed. What they did was they tortured her. So she had 40 wounds on her, but only about maybe 10 cuts. And 2 of those were to the throat. Oh, and get this, you guys. I never knew this until this weekend. I think last night. There were 2 knives used in the attack on Amanda. 2 knives. So we know that one of those knives wound up back at Rafaela, his kitchen drawer. So it was taken from his house and then used and then brought back. There was Amanda's blood residual DNA on the handle. There was Meredith's blood on the blade. So that's not looking good. But yeah, 2 knives. 2. And she was cut on the neck twice. Her earring was ripped out. A lot of those 30 wounds were bruises. She was badly beaten and she was fighting for her life. And she's almost a black belt in karate. So she definitely was overpowered by more than one person. It's not like one person is going to use 2 knives, but it also made it easier to attack her when you've got 2 against 1 or more. It seems that Rudy was definitely there doing that. Like, his prints in her red stuff were all over the place. Amanda's prints in her red stuff were all over the place. And so were Raphael's prints, like footprints, handprints. There were female fingerprint bruises on Meredith's body, you guys. So Rudy didn't have the resources to fight the charges the way Amanda and her boyfriend did. Raphael. And it's weird to call him her boyfriend since they were, simply a one night stand that was like extending for almost a week. Let me see if I've shared all this stuff with you. Oh, goodness. I'm so glad I found this one. I really did not want to forget to share this, and I was going to forget. I only learned about this in the last 24 hours from the Roberta Glass True Crime channel. Amanda wrote a story on her MySpace account that was about a boy victimizing an essay against a female that was incapacitated by alcohol. That was on her MySpace. Just a short story. So I started to say this, but I didn't finish it. She claimed that she didn't know how to call 911. So when she called her mom told her, you need to hang up and call the authorities because of what Amanda was relaying to her. Like, the door was wide open, somebody's broken in, Meredith's door is locked, and there's feces in one of the toilets, and there's, some red stuff that she wasn't that concerned about because she figured that somebody just had like an uncontrollable menstrual cycle or something. These girls that were pretty fastidious. So she would be the only one who might miss that kind of stuff. Anyway, she claimed that she didn't know how to call 911 999 because, in our country, we call 911, but in Italy, you don't call 911. It's so challenging to figure out the 999. So a couple of cell phones were taken from the house and ditched in a neighbor's yard, and those were returned to the postal police, who deals with lesser crimes like that. The postal police traced the phones back to that house. One of them was Meredith's, and one of them was from another roommate. And they brought those phones to the house. That's how they caught Amanda walking out of the house with the bucket, or the mop. And then, there was a lot of commotion because she already had Raphael there with her, and her story wasn't making sense. And they were like, what's going on? And I don't even think they were dressed like police. I think they might have been like plain clothes police. So really caught her and Raphael off guard. And then when she's interacting with them, he kind of sneaks away to call 999 and say, oh dear, we need authorities. But he tried to pretend that they both tried to pretend that they called the authorities before those authorities showed up. And that's not the case. They didn't call until while those authorities were there. But Raphael did it on the sly, so they didn't know. So then the homicide police show up, and he hadn't told them about these other police being there, the postal police. Like these two are shady AF. I thought that he seemed like a much more innocent type of individual that got caught up with Amanda. But the one thing I'm pretty sure is that he had that she popped his cherry, so to speak. And so that kind of explains why he was just out of his mind, having just gotten laid for the first time in his life at 24, and then just having all this free sex for 6 days straight. And then the person putting out is like playing all these weird head games with you and asking you to clean up, and who knows what else she had him do. I mean, maybe he was part of the assault, but at the very least, he was part of the cleanup. And yeah, disgusting. And let's see. Crown Spirit. Yes. Thank you, Shan. Anna B says, yes, I think it could have something to do with it. Yeah, I'm opening up my third eye. I'm open to that. I mean, I just don't want to get the vertigo. But the thing with the vertigo, like so many things in life, is it's like you just have to stay really focused. It's like if I get too overwhelmed, I'll start to feel the effects of it. But if I stay calm and take it easy, like I told you, I went and ran errands on Friday all by myself. So I had run errands on another day, but I had my husband driving. So, I haven't been driving too much, but on Friday I ran errands by myself. I had to do several things, go to several places. Actually, it was only like two or three, but that felt like several. So I spent the rest of Friday on the couch recovering from that. And yeah, it's all right because I can cuddle with the dogs, and especially Coco. She's doing pretty good. So, the one who had the cancer, she's had it removed. We're getting her on some type of treatment plan. We haven't decided which treatment plan yet, whether it'll be chemotherapy, radiation therapy, or the wait and see. I don't know about the wait and see, even though it's the most affordable. I think we're probably going to do the radiation treatment just to be on the safe side. You must always start at the root. There's no skipping the tower of learning your chakras. Right, Shan. So I'm almost done with the program. So we've been studying each one for a while. So we just finished the heart chakra, and now we are on the throat chakra. I'm doing 2 yoga programs simultaneously because how I'm crazy like that. So the mastery one that I'm doing, we just finished the heart chakra, just finished it. But the other one, we're probably way past that. We're probably at the third eye. Maybe that's why it happened. We're probably at the third eye. I'll have to look at my notebook and see. So yeah, because I would get confused with the two classes together, and again, I'm all out. I'm like balls to the walls. I'm either in fifth gear or I'm just rotting on the couch. It's one or the other. So I tend to stay busy until I can't anymore, and then I have to rot on the couch. So yeah, I didn't skip any of the chakras, but I don't think I was taking it so seriously. Like I was taking it, I was learning it, and I've been very interested in it. But yeah, that one just hit me like a ton of bricks in that yoga class. So it was so crazy. I've never had an experience like that. Not many master the crown in this lifetime. Oh no. Well, see, that's why they say that it's a real gift if you get to the vertigo yoga experience, right? I'm one of the lucky ones. Oh man, it was the puking was so violent. Like I that happened before I left the studio. I don't think I would have been able to leave the studio if that didn't happen, because you know how that helps you feel a little bit better. And then it happened again a couple hours later. Like I had to wait in the waiting room of the ER for hours being that sick. And so I was hoping when I threw up in the ER waiting room that they would like step me up to the front of the line, but they don't care. Everybody's sick and dying. Just wait your turn, take a number and wait. As soon as they saw me, everything was rolling. Like I got really good medical treatment, but waiting for a couple of hours bit. But my husband was with me, so that was nice, especially because he's a skilled professional, not just a loving husband, but a skilled professional. I'm pretty darn fortunate in that department. Not that we have it easy, there's always the challenges, right? Um, Hello, Fredfield. No notification. I'm so sorry. Um, yeah, so let me look back at my notes and fill you in on more facts about the Meredith Kercher slaughter. Because Shan, I think, like I've always said, it was well over a year ago when I started. I think it was like in the fall when I made a videotape about Kylie Rodney and Meredith Kercher kind of being in parallel universes. And this Amanda Knox is so disgusting, like scammy. And then I also did some videos well over a year ago about how the Meredith Kercher slaughter was a lot like the Idaho 4 slaughter. Um, and yeah, that Idaho 4 case seems to be going sideways, which is good, I think. I don't know. Again, that one is just a cluster. So, Amanda didn't know how to call not 911, so she was really confused. So she had to let Raphael take care of that. And then the information, I think, on the 999 call, maybe it was what she said to her mother, what Amanda said. But what they said was that Meredith's room would not open. Like, that's a weird way to phrase it, is it not? Her room would not open. And let me just share this with you. This is kind of jumping ahead with the case, but Ms. Amanda believes that she would be just as famous as she is without the red stuff of the roommate from when she was in college. That's what a freaking narcissist she is. She literally thinks she would be just as famous as she is infamous. But that's also just her trying to deny that she's used Meredith's tragedy as her trophy, right? And yeah, I think that's all out of there. Now I can just focus on one notebook. Phew. Let me drink a little coffee and see what you guys are saying. So yeah, let's keep praying for Kevin Neese to recover from his episode. That's terrible. I'm really lucky that I have a great physician, good resources, good insurance. I mean, it's still going to cost, I would bet, like $1,000 to go to the ER. That was another reason I was trying to not go. But I was texting with my doctor and she was like, go. So I said, all righty. If you say so, I trust her. So let me just run through these real quick. About Kylie Rodney's case and the fire cams, whether they're real, true, accurate, none of that doesn't mean a thing to me. I mean, I know they have fire cams, so the whole thing, like I love and appreciate the way you break it down, Shan, and the way other content creators break it down. But I'm just saying, from my perspective, my opinion, those fire cams have never really affected me at all. Like, I just think they're useless because in real life they would have gone straight to them on day one and they would have said, well, what's caught on the fire cam? Like, that's where we'll start. Not like, well, let's get together for some country music and some sandwiches and lemonade and play fighting and see if she shows up, right? Let's see. Can I jump cases? Totally. Have you guys watched the documentary about Brittany Murphy that just came out a year ago? I know there's been plenty of documentaries about Brittany Murphy, but what I wanted to share with you, because I just watched this one, my daughter and her friends watched it, and she told me about it, is that there's a couple of actresses that say that they've channeled Brittany Murphy. And this documentary is about an hour and 26 minutes long, maybe an hour and 25 minutes long. And it's in the last couple of minutes. It's at the 1 hour, 23-minute mark that these two other actresses that say that they channel Brittany Murphy. One is Madeline Brewer from The Handmaid's Tale, and the other one is Lily Reinhart. And it is just chilling. Simply in the photographs that they show on the documentary, you can see them channeling Brittany Murphy. And like I said, I'm not always like down with that kind of thing, that gets a little foofy for me. But like, I literally got goosebumps. I highly recommend learning more about it. And, I was under the impression that her husband did a lot of stuff that contributed to her passing, which I still think that might be the case. But I didn't know about the black mold in the house because that her husband ended up dying in the house pretty much the same way she did 12 months after her. So it sounds like they were abusing a lot of prescription medications, just not taking care of themselves, and then living in black mold. So, and there was a lot of weird relationship stuff with the two of them, and maybe some weird relationship stuff with her mom and him. I don't know. Maybe it seems as like a possibility. I don't want to point a finger, but I know that some people do. And I'm not going to say that I don't see that at all, but I don't know. So I thought you guys might be interested in that. You know who Brittany Murphy is. She was the cute little goofball in Clueless, and she has played in a lot of great roles like Girl Interrupted and 8 Mile with Eminem. She played his twisted love interest. She's a great actress. She really is a great actress, or was. I mean, she was 32 when she just dropped. Bear tents that were at Kylie. Oh, beer tents. Hey, Michael. I didn't realize that there were beer tents. I was always suspicious what the lemonade really was, because it seems like they would say the lemonade tent, wink, wink, right? It was like the $100 lemonade, like you could have lemonade, free lemonade for a giant donation or something like that for the GoFundMe. I don't know. Didn't know beer tents are at search party. I must have missed that info. Yeah. So, do you know anything about that, Shan? Because we don't want to be spreading misinformation, Michael McAllister, and it's new to me, so I'm fascinated by that. Um, and Sandra's here listening in. Yay! And Sandra and Shan, you should have gotten your packages. That doesn't make any common sense. Oh, the beer tents? No, it does not. Um, let's see. Oh, here's another random thing, you guys. Other cases, sorry, squirrels. Patsy Ramsey, right? John Bonet Ramsey case has been going on forever and ever. So when I watched that documentary, a John Bonet Ramsey documentary came on right after, and I was just like, no, I don't watch those. but it got me sucked in for a minute. I watched part of it, enough to learn, maybe you guys already knew this, Patsy Ramsey was Miss West Virginia in 1977. I had no idea. No idea. But back to Amanda Knox. Her parents seemed to be very annoyed with her when communicating with her when she was in jail and on this case. And let's see, a lot of this stuff I have shared with you already. Oh, here's a good one. Miss Amanda was called a lesbian in high school, which, she played soccer. So some people associate the two together. I mean, I played soccer in college. So there were people that assumed that about me because of that, like seriously. And also because I called my spouse my partner rather than like boyfriend or fiance. I just called him my partner. So then people would be like, wait, your partner's a guy? You're on the soccer team. Wait a second. Anyway, back to the point here. Little Miss Amanda, her best friend, quote unquote, from Seattle, moved to Italy to support her through the trial. Moved to Italy. But then quickly jettisoned. So that kind of sounds like more than a best friend. Like that's pretty huge to move to another country for your friend that's on trial. But sure, okay, maybe. But then she probably was getting weird vibes while she was there, because that was all that was said about it, was that she moved there. She didn't stay long, maybe 3 or 4 months, and then that was it. And this is interesting. So the pipes breaking under the sink, the ones that Amanda was able to fix with her plumbing skills, allegedly, that she says that Raphael was really upset about that. He was really upset about the pipes breaking under the sink, but she thought it was funny. So, what? That's more of her bad social skills, thinking broken pipes are funny. I'm thinking that he probably was really upset about having to clean up her mess over there at her place, and she probably thought that was funny. I don't know. The thing about him being upset and her thinking it was funny, that's quotes from her conversation with her mother when she was in jail, when her mom, I think the first time that her mom was communicating with her directly. So yeah, a lot of the stuff I did remember to share, so that's good. Wait, I forgot this one. Her parents were charged with defamation by the Italian courts. The Italian courts charged Amanda's parents with defamation because they kept saying that the courts were screwing her over, basically screwing them over. So they said, nope, that's not true. We're suing you because you're defaming us. So that's something you never hear about. I'd never heard that. Never, ever, ever. So yeah, the theory is that perhaps when Scalito and Amanda said their little story about how they were going to the grocery store, but then they remembered that they had groceries, so then they went back home. The theory that that one content creator put out there that I think sounded like quite a possibility, um, the Roberta, what is her name? The really good one that I was all excited to tell you guys about. Roberto Glass True Crime Report. Okay, Roberta Glass True Crime Report. So she thinks that maybe, I don't think I already said this, did I? That Raphael and Amanda were stalking Meredith, were maybe looking for Meredith. It's a good theory, I think, possibly. I did say this already, but I'm going to reiterate because I think it's stunning. And I had heard it a long time ago, but then I couldn't remember. I was kind of like scratching my head recently, like, whose dad was a doctor? Scolito's dad was a doctor. And then his uncle, I want to say, is an attorney, and they have like the godfather type of family from that part of Italy. I'm not sure which part, but you know, the part that like you better not go to unless you're invited. You know, Sopranos stuff. So the lamp from Amanda's bedroom was on the floor in Meredith's bedroom next to the bed, as if somebody was using that lamp to try to find something under the bed. And I thought that was noteworthy. I never knew about the lamp, about Amanda's lamp being in Meredith's room. So, yep, I think I got it all, you guys. Where are we at? We're at an hour and 20 minutes. So thank you so much for being here. And we don't need to wrap up necessarily, but I think those are all my notes. So see what you guys are saying. If there's anything you'd like to talk about, like let's, can we clarify about those beer tents, Michael? And I'm not trying to be like, you know, scrutinizing. I just, like I said, I don't want to have any misinformation here unless we're identifying that we don't know, then it's fine. So, because yeah, I've never heard about the beer tents. I wouldn't put it past those people. You know, you got to have your brewskis when you're out searching or pretending to search, right? Um, oh, CNY family had pictures on them. If she's the only source, though, I would wonder why she's the only source, because I've never heard about them. So I'll do some research and see if some other content creators have touched on that too. Because, you know, not to be rude or anything, but I know she's put out some questionable information. So I've been pretty leery about it and trying to be nice because, you know, I like to try to be nice. And no one seemed to take Kylie's disappearance seriously. Well, and then they took it too seriously. They're like, oh my God, she's gone. We lost our friend. It's like, okay, if you just haven't seen your friend in a day or two and you're not sure where she is, you're not going to be like, oh, we lost her. You're going to be like, huh, where is she? I hope she's okay. I hope she just took off and forgot to tell anybody. You know, you're not going to be like all freaking out and crying, and, you know, you might not even go on like YouTube interviews about it, because you might just be like, you know, she might have just driven out of town for a few days. Who knows? Um, so yeah, I think that there was a combination of that, Christine, the not taking it too seriously, and also, you know, really inappropriately upset about it. when they supposedly didn't know. What is going on with Alec Baldwin? Oh no, is there anything new? He's such a hateful POS, and so is that Hannah Gutierrez Reed. I hope he gets the book thrown at him like she did, but I hope he gets worse, and he probably will. I don't know if it's going to be the same judge, but just the whole thing with him trying to do his own documentary and trying to intimidate the witnesses, that's not going to go down well. That's not going to work out well for him on his case, I don't think. I will have to check it out again on CNY Family. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah, thanks, Michael. Me too. I appreciate that too. And yeah, she was the first one to find the Placer County Wayne Wu affidavit, the affidavit about him early in the case. So I really like to credit her with that because that was huge. And when she first presented that, I was like, why does that even matter? And then I got my hands on it and I read through it and I was like, holy crap, that's why it matters. So, I've talked about it a lot over the course of Kylie's case, and I've read it on video twice for the audience. And the second time I read it, I think it's gotten over 9,000 views now, which is great because people really need to know exactly what's in that affidavit to put the framework. It's a perfect template of, 30 days after he was sworn in, Kylie disappears. And then another, August to September to October to November, then another 90 days after he's sworn in. So another 2 months later. I'm not doing my math right. So 3 months after Kylie went missing. So that would be like 4 months after he was sworn in. Then Trinity Backus goes missing. So, the whole thing with Trinity Backus and her bare feet and her not having any like cuts or dirt on her feet when she was found, that indicates that she probably was deceased at the house and then removed from the house and they forgot to put shoes on her. Just like with some of these other kids that have gone missing and they forgot to put their shoes on them. So that means that they passed at the house pretty much in all likelihood. Very indicative of that. So it's just something to keep in mind with Trinity Backus's case. There's a lot of reasons to think that she passed away at her fake Auntie Ashley's house. All the weird storyline about how there was a mess in the living room and then they were eating on the bed and then there was like the hair, braiding the hair and pulling it, and then there was the bathtub, and then there was the art supplies out in the shed. I think that whole story is to cover for the hair and the DNA that could be found in the living room, on the bed, in the bathroom, and in the storage shed. So I think that they probably put her in the storage shed before they took her off the property. So sickening, so disgusting. And yeah, the whole thing with the freaking Christopher Stanio, the Nevada County Sheriff's deputy that was Trinity's stepdad, and that she might have even been living with him at the time that this happened. She might have been residing, if she was residing with her mother, which I'm assuming that it's a very good likelihood that she was, her mother was residing at Christopher Stanio's house. They'd already been divorced. He'd already been remarried, but they were back together and she was living at his house. So probably or possibly Trinity was living there too. So how then can they, do this whole PR thing to make it look like it didn't have anything to do with Deputy Stanio's house? It was fake Auntie Ashley's house. And the guy who owns that house that fake Auntie Ashley was renting, his name was on the P.O. box with Jägermeister's mother, Kimberly Westfall, a P.O. box in Truckee, right? Am I remembering that right? But didn't the family, Kylie's family, didn't they get a PR? Like, isn't that what the person from the Utah Jazz was like a media expert, like a public relations firm, basically? And isn't that where Scammy went in San Francisco when you were looking at where her pins were, Shan, like a month or so ago? Wasn't she at a public relations firm? Am I misremembering that? Because if you get a good PR firm, they can spin anything, any which way. If you have enough money, they'll work their magic for you. It's kind of funny how they jump to conclusions automatically with Kylie. I know, funny, not funny. Michael McAllister, has CNY family been putting out any videos lately? Fred Field says it was a lawyer, the one that Scammy was at in San Francisco. That was one of the criminal defense attorneys. Because didn't she have two criminal defense attorneys? Hello, Andrea Langford. And yes, CNY had put out a few videos recently on different cases. All right, you guys, what else? What else are we going to discuss? Let's see. I'm going to drink some coffee and then think about signing off. Because we're just at 90 minutes, 2:30 in the afternoon almost. So it's Monday. I hope you guys are getting the start of a very productive week and a very relaxing week, a very healthy week. I'm going to try to do all that, mostly focus on the relaxing and the health. So, of course, I'll try to maintain my productivity with my my lives. Try to do one a day right around midday. And yeah, I'm going to do yoga tonight. Oh, I did do another yoga class last week. I did the restorative yoga. I told you guys about that. Okay. So yeah, there's restorative yoga. I'll be doing that. Wish me luck, because I did yoga yesterday that was fairly mild, but I do need to be extremely cautious. So most of the yoga classes at the studio that I practice at are very rigorous. So there's very few that aren't. And so I'm going to take it upon myself to redo my master class and make it a restorative class. So, I have a pretty rigorous master class that I've been finishing building and putting the finishing touches on. And then I was working on the cool down. And now I've decided that I'm just going to do cool down for my whole routine. So lots of twists. You guys know how I've told you how excited I am about the twists. And why don't we end with a good yoga move, because we haven't done that in a while. And there was one, one of the things that's really good to try to do is the binding. So I'm proud of myself that I can almost reach. I don't think I can quite reach. And I probably can't do it as well on the other side. But, that's a good stretch. Any kind of thing where you're binding, I'm going to try it on the other side, and you guys can see how different the flexibility is on one side to the other. So, and maybe if I use the chair to cheat, maybe I can get a little closer. But yeah, I think that the other hand was a lot closer, wasn't it? But that's better than I've been. But just like a binding like this, just see if I can put my arms up there. It's a really good stretch. It doesn't look like it's that big of a deal, but it is. It's like wicked on my biceps right now, you guys. So, and I don't want to knock over all my cute stuff. That would be terrible. But at least I got my stretch in. So, yeah, any stretching that you can do. One of my favorite positions with the hands overhead is the steeple grip. It's just very kind of like a religious experience for me. It's very therapeutic. And then, you can do the prayer hands over your head too, and then hands to heart. And that's a really good one. I mean, you're really communicating your mind and your body and your spirit just with something as simple as prayer hands to the heart, and something as simple as putting a smile on your face and looking people in the eye, saying hello, showing gratitude, and just being nice, like, maybe complimenting people, or just the way we do here in our chats. Good to see you, right? It's such cool stuff, just spreading some love around. What about the case of Blaine Taylor? And I'm trying to figure out if she's really missing from 2022. I don't know if that rings a bell for me. Blaine Taylor, Michael. Okay, everyone, have a wonderful day. Amen. Patty Hines, goodness, it's been forever and a year, hasn't it? I recognize your name. It's been a long time. Tuning in after quite a while, notice that what your opening line was. Just wrote a paper on narcissism. Keep with this theme. It's who all the bad guys are. 100%, Patty. 100%. Oh, I had a big realization in my yoga class yesterday, you guys. Shall I share now that we're just past 90 minutes? I haven't talked about my own family tragedy in a long time with you guys, and I just haven't needed to. So I appreciate all the listening that you guys have done, all the support that you've shown. And, I've been doing the same type of sharing in the groups that I'm in with the yoga teaching. And we did this exercise yesterday that sucked, but I highly recommend it. So it was kind of like a directive of drawing a heart and then listing all of the heartbreaks that you've had your entire life, some small ones and big ones and everything in between. And then there was like, the kind of the gifts that came out of those heartbreaks. So it wasn't all bad. And it was probably in the list of the gifts that I made the connection. So when our father made the attempt on our lives, not long before that, I had a very negative conversation with him, like the most negative conversation that I'd ever had, ever to date, still. And it was something to the effect, and mind you, that I'm like about 11 years old, maybe 10. It might have been right before I turned 11. And, he had custody of me and my sister since the time of the divorce. And I had said, it was never an issue, but I had said, I think I want to go live with mom. And he said, he got really angry. His demeanor changed completely. He was quite a narcissist. And he just became like the Charles Manson, Amanda Knox eyes. And he said, she doesn't want you. And he was so angry, and he was so creepy. And I just stood there, like, I didn't cry. I didn't say anything. I just knew that he was lying. And it was really creeping me out because he was my loving father. I was kind of a daddy's girl. And then when he made this attempt on our lives, it had everything to do with him trying to get back together with my mom. So I never connected the two until yesterday. And that was so eye-opening because, when you have that kind of trauma that I had at 11, you kind of isolate that trauma, you compartmentalize it. So you don't connect it to all the things that led up to it necessarily, and things that happened afterwards. But over time, you start putting it all together. And here, that was how many years ago? 45 years ago. And the two correlate, and I've never drawn the connection. So that was huge. I was just like, wow, I've done a lot of work on it, and I've done a lot of directives like that. It's kind of like an art therapy directive. And never done a directive of, write out all your freaking heartbreaks. I mean, that doesn't sound like fun, but it was really healthy to do. So I recommend it. If any of you guys journal or you don't journal, but you just want to try it, just to take a big piece of paper, draw a heart, and write out all your heartbreaks, and then we can do a group therapy. So, yeah. Thanks for listening, you guys. Thanks for being here. And thanks, Patty, for coming back. And yeah, the narcissism is so painful. And people that have personality disorders are in so much pain and they cause so much pain to others. It's just inexplicable. Um, so, yeah, we have to pay attention and steer clear of narcissists and, take note when you see people say and do weird things. Be sure to pay attention to that and to take that into consideration as you make decisions on how to proceed. Because who we hang out with makes all the difference in the world in our lives, right? It's true for our kids and it's true for us too. So love and light to all of you. Dilly Owens, I haven't seen you in a million years. I was one of your first subscribers and I got real sick and my husband mentally abuses. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's nuts. Yeah. And that can make you physically sick as well as emotionally. And then the combination together can just really put you in a dark place. So, I'm glad to see you're back. Thanks for coming in and saying hi. Almost missed you. Almost wrapped up prior, but now wrapping up now. Take really good care of yourselves, you guys, and try that heartbreak exercise if you want. I mean, as long as you feel like you're in a solid enough place or you have good support around you, because you don't want to be stirring up too much if things are not stable in your life or you don't have a good network. But just a good friend that you can talk to about it, or a counselor, or, you're welcome to share and chat too, but that's kind of limiting because our fingers can only type so much and the chat only allows so many words or characters before you then have to make a new one. So, anyway, I hope you guys have a great Monday, great afternoon. Just take it easy. Make sure you eat well, stay hydrated, and keep on keeping on. And for myself, to make sure that I be easy on myself. So I'll recommend that for everybody. If you like to take that advice to be easy on yourself, I think that's a good one, right? And to be easy on the ones around us too. I think as much as I can be really hard on myself, I can also put that on my family. And I like to not be a hard ass, just be accepting and nurturing. And it's so important to meet other people where they're at, but it's even more important to meet ourselves where we are at. And if we're struggling with things like addiction or other unhealthy patterns, it can be really hard to accept that. And until you accept yourself right where you are, until you can meet yourself right where you are, you're not going to be able to move past it, in my opinion. So, on that, love and light, take it easy. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to hit that like button on your way out. And see you mañana. Have a good one.